Petersburg, Florida. I'm at the Albert Whitehead Airport. I guess he's got a white head. Kind of interesting, right? It's a somewhat Dali-esque mural. Look at that. Do you see that plane with the... Where is it? There it is. Engine mounted. That's a little unusual, isn't it? Anyway, this airport is not the focus of today's program. I'm going to be visiting the Salvador Dali Museum. I love Salvador Dali. I'm sure I've spoken about that before. This is a good museum. I've been to many Salvador Dali museums. Unfortunately, I forgot one piece, so we had to improvise with this headset. Forgive me if it clinks and clanks and makes some noise. I'll do my best to prevent that. We're going to go into the museum. I do believe I'm allowed to have video recording in there, so that should be good. Yeah, see, it's the microphone clanking on my shirt there. Boy, I tell you, one thing goes out of whack and it becomes totally out of whack. People don't get that. Production is not easy, but there's the museum there. This is, I've been to this museum in the past. It's been a long, long time since I've been, and I think there have been some changes to it. We'll check it out. Salvador Dali was fascinated with perception and manipulating perception. I don't know if this museum was created after his death. I guess we could find out inside there. There's people who watch the show who live here on the west coast of Florida who are going to be annoyed with me for not alerting them that I'm coming here, but I'm still being a little bit, I don't want to say secretive, but there's an advantage to me to time shift my location, even though I've got the injunction now, which I'm pleased to have. We're still not sure what certain troublesome, vexatious litigants might get up to. There's a 360 dome here. Let's check out the exterior of the museum if people haven't had a chance to be here. So Salvador Dali is weird. They have to tell you no swimming, but there's certain themes, recurring themes in Dali's work. The ants, that's one of them. You know, I actually read his autobiography, and according to that, the recurrence of ants in Salvador Dali's work is due to an experience he had as a young boy where he found an injured bat, and in order to kind of, I guess in his juvenile thought process to nurse it back to health, he brought it to this like outdoor shed, this kind of outhouse in Spain in 19 early something, and put the bat there and came back the next day to see it being devoured by ants, and he was horrified, and so he killed the bat. The book is weird. He gets into some weird stuff, but we've got the Maffei Theater there, and there's a dome here as part of this Dali theater. Look, we've got beautiful marina boats over there. It's a wonderful day. Beautiful day. But let's go into the museum and check it out. They did say that I'm allowed to use a video camera. I'm not going to get into too much about counter lawfare or news or any of that stuff today. We're going to go this way. I just want to talk about Salvador Dali. This is the Fountain of Youth. Dali, as I said, he was fascinated with the concept of perception and manipulating perception. We only have about 2 hours. Hi, how are you?
Doing?
Very well. They said I was allowed to have a video camera.
Let me verify that first.
Oh, sure. I called ahead. Everybody said it was allowed. This will be a short trip if no.
He ate the base.
I can't be the first person to ever walk in. Well, anyway, he was fascinated with the concept of perception and manipulating it. You know, you look at the images from one distance and they appear to be one thing or one level of magnification, and then from another distance they appear to be something else. This is like a mermaid skeleton there. Pretty weird. It's allowed?
I think it's
Thank
allowed.
you. Yeah, they said
They
on
say
the
something,
phone.
then
Said it was allowed.
thank you.
Hi, how are you? Good. One adult, please. Non-member.
Any discounts apply for you or anything? Teacher, local, military, first responder?
No.
Can I have a good zip code for you?
10001. Now people know my zip code. Highly secretive. Do you know about the story about the painting that was stolen from Rikers Island?
No.
Oh my God. How do you work at the Salvador Dali Museum and not know about that?
That'll be $32.
He was supposed to teach an art class for the inmates at Rikers Island, but he got sick at the last minute. And so he just made a painting and sent it to Rikers Island, and it was stolen in a heist.
What?
They still don't know where it is. Nobody knows where it is. Thanks. So anyway, I'm surprised that somebody working here wouldn't know that. More ants. They love the ants here. So let's see, I don't really know. It's been a long time since I've been to this museum, and I don't really remember the layout of it, but we'll just walk around and check it out. I really want to find out more about that heisted Rikers Island painting. How could they not know where it is? There's something very strange about that story. But it's a beautifully designed museum. I mean, I believe it was from its inception designed to be the Salvador Dali Museum. I think that dome might have been under construction the last time I was here. So far, we're just walking upstairs. I've been to many Salvador Dali museums. I don't know about Giacometti. Rarely considered relationship. Profound but rarely considered relationship between Salvador Dali and Alberto Giacometti, both key figures in Surrealism. Yeah, Dali did a lot of his work in Paris. It's a really interesting autobiography. And, unlike a lot of other artists, Dali's work spanned painting and illustration and sculpture. I'm always fascinated to come to a museum like this and just see the individual strokes of a brush that the master laid down on the canvas. It really, I don't know, for me, obviously everybody watching this video isn't having that experience, but this was painted by Dali in 1926. So it's almost 100 years ago. His brush stroked this canvas. Seeing those strokes, it just, I don't know, it seems to take you closer to the artist. Yeah, see, he did a lot of these sort of studies where he would have an illustration that would then appear later as a more complicated painting. Look at these little notebooks. That's too close. Whoop. See, it's like studies in. This is probably Vermeer. He liked Vermeer. I don't know. And also these crutches holding up elongated appendages is another strange recurring theme in Dali's work. Cubist self-portrait. It's also interesting to see the evolution, right? Like this type of fruit still life is not really, you might not immediately recognize that as Dali. I guess the surrealist style was still being formed in the 1920s. I mean, I really don't know all that much about art history. I read the Dali book. I've been to the Dali Museum in Paris and several in Spain. Yeah, this is not Dali. This is Giacometti. Now, Figueres, this is Dali. Yeah, I've been to the Dali Museum in Figueres, Spain. That's fascinating to see. He actually designed that museum. I would say this museum is definitely...
What?
Are we interacting with this, or? I guess it's just a video playing in like a looped. There's a breadstick on a head. So this is sort of like Dali-inspired video art. I don't think they quite have that elephant exactly right. He had the elephant normally has an iceberg on his back. That looks like Big Ben. Maybe there's a Big Ben elephant. But I remember the elephant being white and having more knees. Oh yeah, this is a very famous one. See, this is supposed to represent the castration of the donkey. It's a lot of weird stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess 1928 they were already doing Surrealism. So he joined the Surrealists, began experimenting under the influence of his friend Juan Miró. Biomorphic forms and incorporating unorthodox materials, including sand, into the paintings. Is there sand in this painting? It's interesting. Yeah, Dali got into a lot of, he did holograms and all kinds of interesting stuff. I don't think they have any of his 3D work at this museum, although maybe they do. I think it varies what they have on display. But he did stereoscopic 3D paintings. Here's another breadstick on the head. And ants. The ants. So there's all these recurring themes. Yeah, the stereoscopic works, yeah, piano keys are another thing that is recurring. I used to know more about what some of these different themes came from. If you read the book, his autobiography, it tells you more. Now, See, this is what I'm talking about with perception. Some people will look at this and see a rock with things carved out of it. And you see the faces, and this is a young boy and a woman that also looks like the mouth. Carvings in rock. It's a very famous one that he did of Abraham Lincoln, which is gigantic, and it's called something like, people probably have seen it called Lincoln in Dali vision, but I don't think he ever called it that. He called it something crazy like Portrait of Abraham Lincoln, that at 40 meters becomes a bust of Gala contemplating the sea. I wonder if there's a version of that here. I mean, this is another example of that where, it's a man and a woman standing there kind of, or it's large rock formations, and then there's a young boy and his father. Dali was also fascinated by tragedy. He had a brother who was also named Salvador Dali, who died, and then his parents had him. So he sort of always considered himself a replacement for that brother, and is sometimes depicted as a drop of water, or there are two drops of water. Photos allowed for personal use. Augmented reality. Masterworks refers to Dali's paintings exceeding 5 feet in height or width. AR, I guess, what is that? Insight into their significance. Augmented reality. Is it just sound? This museum is really worth coming to if you enjoy Dali. Yeah, I think some of these are permanent exhibits because I've seen them before, and I think I've seen them here. But you can see the evolution. I mean, this is more of a traditional still life than a surrealist. 1923. So I guess he really didn't get into the surrealist stuff until the late 20s. Isn't that amazing? 1918 to 1919, that self-portrait in Cadaqués. He's got a museum in Cadaqués that I haven't been to. I've been to the one in Figueres. Been to the one in Paris, and also the Wadsworth Atheneum in Hartford, Connecticut, of all places, frequently displays Dali's work. That was the first museum in the United States to ever show his work. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. I think this is supposed to be his brother. Yeah. See, the other thing that's interesting about Dali is this concept of breaking a picture down into elements. Like, obviously standing far away from that, it looks like a normal face, but as you come up close, it's broken down into dots. And the thing it doesn't maybe seem that groundbreaking now, but the notion of a picture element in the 1920s, you didn't have television. Georges Seurat obviously did that. And look at these geometric objects in there. People see that? Cube. And there's also these drops of water. I think these are supposed to be drops of water. Dali considered him and his brother to be like 2 drops of water. Seems like he almost felt a certain sense of guilt over the concept of having replaced his brother. Very weird. Almost an obsession, I think. Yeah, see, Dali, he also did a lot of film and video and a lot of innovative work. My sadly departed, see, now this is weird, what is this? Fragment of anthropomorphic beach. Created this provocative assemblage as part of a larger reevaluation of his artistic goals. My sadly departed friend Lenny Lipton worked as the sound recording technician on a Salvador Dali documentary, and he would frequently tell me the story about how he bumped Dali in the head with the microphone. Ah, there it is. Well, this is a copy of it. Yeah, there it is. Gala contemplating the Mediterranean Sea, which at 20 meters becomes a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. So I think he did many versions of this, and obviously from here it looks quite clearly like Abraham Lincoln. But I think the original of that, or the most famous one, is in the Teatro Museo de Dali in Figueras, and it fills up an entire wall, as I recall. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm misremembering it. But as you get close to it, you can see Gala contemplating the Mediterranean Sea, and then we have a small Lincoln down there. So again, this concept of picture elements seems quite normal today, because obviously almost everything we look at is made up of pixels. But it was groundbreaking at the time that Dali did that. He actually worked with, it's probably going to tell us on here, a computer scientist at MIT, I believe, collaborated with him on creating this. Oil on canvas. Yeah, this was done in 1976, so really his later work. Dali was inspired to paint this after reading a Scientific American article about visual perception. The article explored the minimum threshold of visual information needed for the mind to recognize a particular face. Highly pixelated photo of Abraham Lincoln. He decided to create a completely different composition of his wife staying at the window. I'm pretty sure that there was some involvement with that involved a computer scientist. Wow, we've got a Dali VR experience here. Huh. Dali liked Harpo Marx. I did not know that. Wow, see, that's cool. I don't think I'm going to have time to try that today, but that's a good reason for people to want to come to the museum. Try out the Dali VR. Somebody might see that. I've never seen this one before. Flaming giraffes are another common theme in Dali's work. This is Dinner in the Desert with Giraffes on Fire. Developing the storyline for the film Giraffes on Horseback Salad. Dali envisioned the most extraordinary, most unexpected, most luxurious dinner that Groucho's imagination can conceive, created this sketch depicting guests in formal attire with burning giraffes illuminating the scene. Later, Dali and his wife Calla brought this concept to life by hosting an immersive theatrical dinner at the Hotel Del Monte as a fundraiser for European artists displaced by World War II. There, guests wore surreal costumes and participated in performances that transformed the event into a living work of art. See, that's what I was going to say. I think it's appropriate that they have these. Seems like there's a painting missing from here, Harpo Marx. But it's appropriate that this painting is here with the virtual reality display, because while some people might say, oh, that's crass, making virtual reality, Dali, I disagree. I think he would be interested in that. I think he would appreciate that. He was very interested in new mediums. And like I said, he's got holograms that he did. Wow, I've never seen that before. Interesting. He was really quite prolific. Oh yeah, here we see a skull sodomizing a grand piano. I mean, isn't that just bizarre? This, I think, is Vermeer. Yeah, the ghost of Vermeer, which can be used as a table. The naming conventions of the Dali paintings were quite interesting as well. I'm sure the most famous paintings will be recognized by a lot of people. Right, he got into more religious symbols and stuff, and some of these were done as stereoscopic works as well. I mean, again, he's got a lot of different versions of some of these. The concept of drawers coming out of the body, I believe, came from, he had this nurse, some kind of nurse who was giving him this weird medicine that maybe seemed to contribute to some of his eccentricities. But there was this nightstand with drawers that the medicine was in that I really should read the book again. Well, I really just want to give people a sort of a flavor of this museum. I think I might turn off the camera and try that virtual reality thing. But, yeah, didn't want to diverge too much from Dali, but I'm here in St. Petersburg on a special mission that will become clearer in the coming days, I hope. Depends on how the mission goes. Let's see, how much time do I have left before this museum closes? Maybe we can go outside. Let's see what's happening outside. Show people the outside garden there. It's a really nice view of the boats. Yeah, see, this dome, I think, was under construction the last time I was here. 360 dome. I really should have gotten here earlier. Check out the garden. The Dali Dome. Yeah, it's new. I guess like most things, they're changing what's going on out here. Conceived in 1974, cast in 1999.
I know, I agree.
It's really beautiful out here. I guess most of the action is inside the dome, where you can take pictures of yourself with a giant flowered mustache. Got some Dali Christmas stuff over there. There's Christ of St. John on the cross. This was cast in 2014, conceived 1973 and 1974. See that plane taking off? Well, there you go. Trip to the Dali Museum. I think I'm going to turn off the camera and go back inside there. I hate putting on public virtual reality stuff. It seems like a good way to get pink eye. But I am quite intrigued to see what's going on with that. Desert Rose. Can't tell if that's artwork or a plant. I think it's just a plant. Yeah, there's no artwork here. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. More to come here from the west coast of Florida.